a consultant on that for several months, and loved the experience. It was great, and it was great working with the whole product team. But when the product was slipping, they said, well, we're going to pull the contract, but would you like to come here as a full-time employee? And I'd actually just had my daughter when I started that contract. She was about I don't know, 9 months old when we started talking about that contract. And the .com industry had just cratered out. It was 2000. And I went back to work after having the baby. My husband was a stay-at-home dad for what we thought was going to be about 6 months. And then, the training market was going to hell because all the jobs were going away. And I was having to start to travel to train, which I couldn't do with a daughter because I was nursing. And so when Microsoft said, hey, would you be interested in coming working on this contract? I said, yeah. And I packed up my husband and daughter. We moved up to some temp housing so I could be in Seattle for a little bit. And then when they pulled the contract, I said, sure, let's go do the interview. And, not something that I've told a lot of stories about, but, I had to do the interview in one day because I had to get home and nurse my daughter again. These are some of the things that women in tech face. But I guess I did well enough. They hired me in, and I was working on security curriculum, not endpoint management curriculum. But later on, I went on to work for the SMS team. SMS 2003 R2 was about when I came into the picture. And then I was in charge of the entire documentation from SMS, from System Center Configuration Manager 2007 through the early inception, through the renaming, to 2007, all the way up through, I think, the R2 release there. I went off for a while. I worked on mice and keyboards. I went to Windows Embedded. I got reorged back into Microsoft Endpoint Manager. At that time, it was System Center Configuration Manager and Intune. And I was there for the name change to the MEM product space. And then I fell in love with mixed reality, virtual reality, alt space VR. And so I've been working for the last 6 months in the Microsoft Mixed Reality team. But when I was in the MEM space, I was the lead for our fabulous MVPs in MEM and Windows Commercial. And I miss you people so much. It's just the best group of humans to work for. And I needed a little bit of a change from the job, but not from the people. So I was thrilled when I was invited back by Tim or me and Tim and everybody. And I worked with Ken and just all these great people over there. And I'm thrilled that this group is trying to put a little bit of focus here and open up some opportunities for women to speak. One of the other reasons I get called in for things like this is, as I was working with the MVPs and realizing there weren't a lot of women MVPs, I started to think, well, instead of just saying, yeah, there aren't a lot of women MVPs, how can we change that? And I started to say, well, how do I find the other women who are working in the endpoint management space? Aren't a lot of them. So I said, well, how can I find the women working in the IT pro space? And what I'm finding is that there's tons of stuff for women in tech. There's a lot of stuff for women who code, which is great. We need women who code. But how do we find the women who are running the code? How do we find the women who are making the code? So I started an initiative called #WomenITPros, and that's been trying to reach out and bring women together. Sonia Cuff and Jess Dodson kind of picked up the idea, and they ran with it in the Asia Pacific region. We have some women who are doing it in Europe as well. So, the idea that it's great to have all of these women in tech, but how do we help women find their specific technical community? And so that's really kind of what I'm all about. If that resonates with any of you, you can find me on Twitter. I'm Cathy Loves Tech, and Cathy with a C. And I'm in some of the tweets for this. But what I'd like to do is go ahead and introduce a little bit about what you're going to see here. So we have a great group of guys, and just a lot of guys here, but great humans who are working in this product space and organizing events like this, because community is so important to our learning. It's so important to bring people together to use the products better, but also to deal with all the highs and lows. Sometimes it's not the technology that's going to get you down. Sometimes it's all of the stuff around the technology, and you really need to have that deep bench of people that you can reach out and talk to. So attending events like this is great, connecting with these people. And what I found is all these guys are just like really open. The Midwest Management Summit is happening next week. And there's a woman who we're able to send actually from the Women IT Pros initiative who's going to be there. And I said, go find every MVP at that summit and talk to them. Because these are the people who can really help introduce you and help connect. So if you're someone who is just attending here, don't be afraid to reach out, both on social media and as we start going back to live events. reach out to these people, reach out to the speakers that we have today. So, so this group here, no nonsense, community focused on sharing knowledge and a platform for like-minded technology enthusiasts. We really want to get people together in every sense of the word. So this group in particular is focusing on cloud, so Azure, Microsoft, hybrid cloud, and also my beloved client management space, endpoint management, endpoint security, M365, and all the acronyms there. But if this isn't your community, go find your community. And if you can't find your community, make your community. If you don't know how to do that, reach out to me. I will give you some tips, because with all the technology that we have these days, it's really easy to do something like this. You know, it's a work. I'm not saying that, you know, the work itself is easy, but the technology, the challenges of setting this up, you know, it's teams. We all have teams. We can use it. So, and if you're not quite ready to do that, speak on this. Put your hand up. I don't care if you are male, female, non-binary, Martian, Venusian, speak up at events like this. You have a unique perspective and we need to hear your voice. So don't be shy. You know, we're among friends here. Just get up here, give them your ideas, throw it into Sessionize, and not just this, but all of the things. Follow people on Twitter. See when they're advertising for speakers out here. Here, and you know, here's all the place to find everybody. So the Twitter, the LinkedIn, the Facebook, the Instagram, it's all about the community. So this is the April event, but they're doing these every month. So May, is May specifically women in tech, or is May just you know, like a generic everybody in tech?
It's a regular monthly event like we always have. Yeah.
Okay, but you should get here, whether you are women, man, non-binary, Venusian, you know, show up. And for the organizers here, you know, it's really important. It's hard. I know from doing the Women IT Pro stuff, it's hard organizing stuff if you think no one's going to be there. You know, it's a lot of effort. So just being there as much as you can, even if you can't stay for the whole thing, show up, participate, you know, throw your questions in the chat windows. So for this event, we have 4 fabulous speakers who happen to be women, because we're trying to, you know, give an opportunity to promote women. But it's really not about the gender, you know. We at some point maybe we'll get past that. But I'm really thrilled that at least we're, you know, trying to have a platform for women to come together and to support women in the community. So we'll start off with Kat. Gosh, my eyes are just horrible here. Kat Greenman. So a MVP, again, another one of our fabulous MVPs here. She's a solution specialist at Core Technology, and she's based in the UK. She hosts a tech podcast called Cloud Conversations, which has a lot of guests from the tech community. She publishes blogs on websites like Practical 365, Petri.com, and she has her site Collab with Cat. And so she's a K-Cat. I'm a C Cathy here, but definitely check that out. Then Joy is going to come and speak. She's an information technologist since 2008 with Microsoft products. So getting some time in there. She's a SharePoint consultant and trainer, Microsoft 365 consultant and trainer. She is also an MVP, yay MVPs. Modern workplace strategist. She's a trainer for the Pate Group, and she hosts the Joy of SharePoint webinar series. And then we're going to have, so those will be 45-minute sessions each, and then we'll have a break for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back with Johanna Andersson. And she is a Filipino-Swedish software developer, another MVP for Azure. She's a Cloud Azure certified Azure developer, Microsoft certified trainer, yay trainers, and an IT consultant in Sweden. And she's the founder and a community leader of the Azure Users Group in Sweden. So another one of these community groups. Find her, go to her meetings. And then we're going to wrap up with a coworker of mine, Shannon, who works for Microsoft. And she is on the Identity and Network Access Advocacy team within Microsoft. Her goal is to help develop a broad range of IT personnel adopt Azure and identity services through, again, community outreach, tech events, meetups, documentations, blogs, videos. It's all about the community. So with that, I'm just thrilled to be asked to attend here. There will be opportunities for community. Put your questions in the Q&A, participate, come to the coffee breaks, fill out the evaluation, because that's really a reward for the presenters to be able, or the organizers to see what your thoughts are about this. And then community, there'll be some social time here, BYOD virtually. So have fun, enjoy the content. And with that, I'm going to turn things back over to you guys.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Cathy. That was one hell of an introduction. We never had one of those for our community meetings, I think. So thank you. It was amazing. In the meantime, in the chat, I've made some publicity for your Twitter handle, and I've also promoted your Twitter lists. I'm not sure if people are aware of those. I know you're maintaining them with a lot of people who are sharing a lot of interesting content. So yeah, thank you for that as well. I think we're about ready for our first speaker now. So the floor is all yours.
Amazing, yep. Thanks. Oh, yeah.
There you are. Welcome.
I'm here. Staying off camera, but I'm on now. So hi everyone, thanks so much for inviting me to today's session. I'm just going to share my screen. So in the first session, we're talking about Microsoft Viva Insights, and this is one of the modules of Microsoft Viva. So I'm really excited to show you what it is, what it's all about, what challenges does it solve, and look at the bit of the back end, what access we have, and what analytics can actually help improve our collaboration behaviours in the workplace, especially now we're hybrid working. And I hope that wasn't sarcastic when someone said the Viva Suite either, because I'm very excited about it. But just a quick introduction. So Cathy did an absolutely amazing introduction, but my name's Kat Greenan, and the surname always catches people out, so that's absolutely fine. And I'm a MVP, Microsoft Solution Specialist, as Cathy said. And I do lots and lots of conferences. I love speaking at conferences and meeting new people and connecting with people. So what you'll see at the bottom there are some of my handles for social media. I am on basically all of them: Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. I do lots of videos on TikTok. So please, if you are on there, you're never too old to join TikTok. So please feel free to connect with me there as well. I'm always looking to expand my network. So please do get in touch. So what are we going to be talking about today? I'm just going to flip my camera off so my face isn't distracting anyone. Today, we are going to be looking at Viva Insights. And a couple of things that we need to cover when it comes to Viva Insights is, first of all, some challenges with hybrid working. What challenges are we trying to solve? What is Viva Insights going to fix for us? We then need to look at what is it? What is Viva Insights? For those who maybe aren't aware, what are the features and the functionality? What does it deliver? And then looking at the back end. So analysts will have access to a portal called Workplace Analytics, which has kind of been rebranded as Insights. You might be familiar with this already, but that's really providing a huge amount of insight, excuse the pun, and analytics for analysts to query and customize and deliver, insights to stakeholders in an organization. So we're going to have a little look at that. What is it all about? Finally, or not second to last, I guess, is privacy. So it's really important that we cover security, compliance, and privacy when it comes to Viva Insights. And if you're not familiar with Viva Insights, towards the end of the session, you'll maybe see why we need to talk about privacy and addressing some of those concerns. And finally, why do we need it? Why should we start using Viva Insights? And I always get, when I talk about Viva Insights to customers, they always turn around and say, oh, is that email that comes through at the end of the day in the morning to tell me I've got tasks to do? And the answer, I guess, is yes, but it's so much more than that. So let's take a quick look. Out of interest, actually, I don't know if anybody could raise their hands or give a little wave or a clap if you've heard of Viva Insights and know what it is. Okay, so we've got a couple who are familiar with it, some not, so that's absolutely fine. Okay, let's take a look. Some of the key challenges. So recently, Microsoft, I say recently, it's about last year, Microsoft, time's flying, published its annual work trend index. And it had findings from a study of more than 30,000 people across 31 countries. And what that study found was 73% of workers say that they want more flexible remote work options. But at the same time, 67% of employees tell us they want more in-person collaboration with their teams. We've also learned from that survey that 80% of managers say that they expect to put in more work from home policies after, post-pandemic. So what we're seeing here is that employees are saying they want more flexible remote work options, but they also want more in-person collaboration. And this is what we would call the hybrid paradox or hybrid work paradox. And I think we've all, over the last couple of years, a lot of us have really seen how easy it is for the line between work and life to blur. So we're always on, we're always connected, we're making sense of incredible amounts of information, delivering multiple tasks, and everything demands our attention at any given time. And so employee burnout has really been on a troublesome trajectory for several years. And we can see really clear signs that the always on mode is just unsustainable. And according to a recent global survey, 85% of people say their well-being has declined. And 56% of people say that their job demands have also increased. And if we think in addition to the personal cost of burnout to the individual, it can translate into huge losses across organizations in terms of attrition and your productivity. And research shows that personal well-being and balance are mission critical to the future of every company, because anything that's unsustainable for people is also unsustainable for the business. And that's why Viva Insights, and that's where Viva Insights can help. One of the things we also want to think about when we think of hybrid work and risk of burnout with our staff is including and empowering managers to lead that shift. Now, there's Microsoft have done an amazing job at providing information about how they approach hybrid work. So there's actually a guide, and I'll post the link in the chat once I've finished the session. It's really, really interesting. It's actually how they did hybrid work and the policies they put in place to really help other organizations follow suit and see, what's the best practice. And Microsoft have, according to that kind of guide, have given the managers authority. They've got tools and skills, and they can lead hybrid work for their teams. So managers have the authority to approve when individuals can work from home, beyond 50% of the time. They can authorize new home office equipment. They can develop team-specific norms, so things like, no meeting Fridays. And they have a plan to empower managers to lead their teams through this kind of critical stage where we're figuring out hybrid work. And if you think about a challenge of how do you know your team are burning out and working maybe after hours or spending all of their time in meetings and they don't have any focus time? How do you find out that information if you're not in the same room as your employees? Because we're all working from home, or most of us are. We're all at home. We're not together. You can't see me sitting in the office, working till 10 at night. So how can a manager, help and support their staff if they don't have that intel or that information? And there's some common themes that we hear from customers. So when it comes to hybrid work, working from home, remote working, however you would want to call it, it has some great benefits, and the flexibility of that is great, but there is also some strain. So individuals are feeling really the blur of lines between work and life. And, as an individual myself, an employee at work, I also feel that. I feel that strain. I feel that, we're always connected, but sometimes you can feel a little bit isolated as well. And just 6 months into the pandemic, when everybody was remote working, 30% of frontline and information workers say that they were already reporting increased burnout. And Microsoft have published some stats which just show how much, our workload has kind of increased from working from home and our conversations. So there was a 48% increase in Teams chats per person overall, and 69% increase in Teams chat per person after hours since working from home, since the pandemic. And so that really is a kind of tell of increased burnout, increased, that always on kind of, way that we're working now. And over half of the survey, the Work Trend Index survey that I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Over half of the people who were in that survey responded that they were feeling overworked, and 4 out of 10 said they were exhausted. And if we compare the collaboration trends in Microsoft 365, so if we look at February 2020 versus February 2021, the weekly meeting time doubled for Microsoft Teams users. So we're, in more meetings, we're always on, we're always connected, we're feeling a little bit of strain. But it's not just the individuals who are feeling these, challenges. It's also managers. Managers are bearing the brunt of the increase in collaboration. We need to help our teams focus on what's important. And, they are feeling a little bit overwhelmed by that. Leaders are also looking for ways to make their organization more resilient. How can I get a view of what's happening across my organization when everybody is working from home? So we really need to look at employee experience in this case. And we need to look through a new lens. Where does the reimagination begin? We need to understand what's happening in our business so that we can define a path forward. And that is what Viva Insights can help with. So what is Viva Insights? Viva Insights is one module as part of Microsoft Viva. So there's 4 modules, with one we're going to focus on today. And it's an app within Microsoft Teams that provides insights and recommendations to help people in the organization work smarter and achieve balance. So it helps along 2 dimensions. Number 1, Viva Insights will help us understand how we work, so what our work habits are. And number 2, we'll take action in the flow of our work. And what that means is that we would access Viva Insights through Microsoft Teams, where we spend most of our day and we do most of our work. And we can access Viva Insights through Teams, which is the most popular way. We can access, you might actually be familiar with the daily briefing emails that come through from Viva Insights. And there's a web dashboard, which is the workplace analytics I'm going to show you later on today. So let's take a quick look at Viva Insights. So we have 3 different types of insights available. We have number 1, and I'm starting from the bottom up, individual insights. Individual insights are where individuals in the organization will receive personal insights that are visible to them, so it can help them identify opportunities and change how they work. So it will basically tell them, do you want to protect time? So book some focus time so you can get work done. So it's you're not in meetings all the time. Do you want to do some training? Do you want to do some meditation and take breaks? Just friendly reminders to improve that well-being and productivity. So let's take a look at Viva Insights. Viva Insights, you'll see on the left-hand side, I have my Viva Insights app, which I can access in Microsoft Teams. Now, the individual insights in Viva Insights, see how many times I say that today, is included in Office 365 licensing. So if you've got Office 365, the chances are you probably already have Viva Insights, and you might be familiar with some of those emails coming through to you. If you wanted to find Viva Insights, all you would need to do is click on the 3 dots next to your taskbar and search for Viva Insights. It'll pop up here, click on it, and it'll take you straight here. Now, Viva Insights, I'll zoom in for you. This is the individual insights. So only I have access to this. Nobody else in my organization can see this. And what it's doing is it's giving me suggestions and things that I can do to improve my work habits. So for example, if I scroll down, I can take a note of how I'm feeling. So this is reflection. So I can check in every day and see how my mood changes, on a daily basis. I could choose to send praise to my colleagues if I haven't done that in a while. I could choose to decompress, so I can do a 10-minute meditation break. And if you're not into meditation, that's fine, but it's important to take regular breaks, which is the point of this. And if I scroll down, I have some top actions for me as well. So this is using Microsoft To Do. It's looking at any emails that I've sent. So it's working with Outlook. And in here, I can see that I have some actions that I could achieve today. So I can get reminded of any tasks in my unread emails. I can book some focus time. So what this is going to do is actually find a time in my diary where I'm free and I don't have any meetings, and it's going to book it out for me automatically. And it will put a focus time appointment in my diary for that time, so I can actually get work done so people don't book over it. If I have Microsoft To Do tasks, I can see all of the tasks that I need to complete for that day. And it's just, going to send me these daily habits to improve the way I'm working. Something that I find really useful with Viva Insights, and this again is the individual insights, is the Stay Connected tab at the top. And Stay Connected is going to show me all of my collaborators. So this is people I work with on a regular basis through Teams and Outlook and Office 365. And in here, I can see it's giving me some actions of things that I've said I've done that I might not have, completed. So I've got, somebody has sent me an email, and I can, if I have an RSVP, I can do that from here. It's going to send me that reminder. So there's really nice kind of suggestions here using, all of the Office 365 applications that I use on a daily basis. All of those kind of, analytics that I'm creating, it will feed me important insights and useful insights so I can get work done. You do also have the ability to protect your time. So this is where, the focus time, I could choose to block out some time in my calendar, and it will give me a kind of idea of how much focus time I've actually added and kept and not booked over as well. Something that supports remote work is also the virtual commute. So I can set a virtual commute for myself. So, if we're not working in the office, how do we close out for the day? We can do a virtual commute where I can choose to look at any events I have the next day. So I can check and see if I need to RSVP to any events or meetings. I can see if I have any, actions or tasks that I need to do. I can set up some tasks for tomorrow for Microsoft To Do. I can reflect again, see how I'm feeling, and take a moment to do some meditation as well. And I can close that virtual commute. And as a user, I can actually go in and customize the day and time that comes through to me. So there's little features in there that you'll get with Office 365 that just help build those better work habits. And it's just to help the individual, not burn out. What we also have, though, is a different level to Viva Insights. So you'll have individual insights, but you also have then manager insights. So that kind of level above, which is where managers can see much needed visibility into work patterns for their teams. So they can look into their team and they can see if people are working after hours, if we have meeting overload, and it will give the managers recommendations of things they can do to actually help, improve that. The manager insights is an additional license cost. So that's something to be aware of. It doesn't come in any licensing packages from Microsoft. It will have to be either Viva Suite license package or Viva Insights add-on, which you can purchase. And once you purchase that, you have access to the Manager Insights and the Leader Insights. But let's take a look at Manager Insights first of all. So going back to my Viva Insights tab, if you have purchased that additional license that gives you the Manager Insights, you will have a tab at the top called My Team. And as soon as I'm a manager, I go in, it will suggest, create a team for me. And this is based on your Azure AD. So whoever is kind of in that org chart, that will take it from there. But if that's maybe not correct or updated, then you can customize it as a manager. I can add members, remove members, and confirm that. So I can confirm who my team are. Yes, you've got it right there. So that's perfect. I'm going to hit confirm. Now the manager will get, let me just close some of these. Manager will get a view into my team or into their team. So if I scroll down, some actions for me will be related to, managing my employees. So if I haven't had a one-to-one with my team members in a long time, it will suggest that for me. So it's telling me here, Vladimir, you haven't had a one-to-one with him in quite a while, so you might want to stay connected and schedule one with him. When I scroll down, I can also see habits. Habits from me as a manager that's impacting my team, and also my team's habits as well. So in my habits, I can see here that I contacted 8 out of 14 team members during their quiet hours. So quiet hours being out of office hours, which is probably not the best thing to do. I shouldn't be contacting my team members when they're not in the office, because that, again, it leads to, or when they're working, because that, again, leads to burnout. I can explore this and see how many meetings I'm sending my team, if all the meetings that I'm sending is taking up too much time, and I can get suggestions on what to do. But I do have group insights as well. So if we hit explore more, I just want to take a delve into this. I will be able to look at percentages for coaching and development. So I can see if I haven't spoken to my team and had a one-to-one with them. And if I haven't, if there's, you know, a number like this where there's 30% of my group have had less than 15 minutes with their manager, I can choose to view best practices. So not only is it telling me what's, you know, something I could improve, it's giving me suggestions, you know, of things that I can do to help with that. If I scroll down, I can see there's 10% of my team are actually working after hours. Oh my goodness, that's, you know, not great. So I'm going to view best practices, and I can see some suggestions in here where I can create an email signature for my team. I can, you know, put in policies to help improve that. So it's giving you insights as a manager into your team, and you'll notice that it's just aggregated data. It is not providing me with names and emails, and there's no way for me to differentiate who is, you know, doing what within my team. So it's very much just the insights that are important to take action on. And as a manager, what you can also do, which is quite nice, is create plans. So I could create a plan based on my insights and my data to say, okay, you've got lots of meetings that you're creating with your team, and they get, you know, their work done better when you don't have a huge amount of you know, meetings in the diary. And so you might want to schedule a no meeting day. And so what I can do is I can get started with this plan. I can choose my no meeting day. Do I want it weekly or monthly? Do I want to make people, you know, put an out of office and hit next? And I can say who in my team I want to invite, give them a little bit of information about what I'm doing, and I can send that invitation. So now on the 29th, everybody will have their out of office on, and they'll be able to get their work done because it's our no meeting Friday. So it's creating those plans as well. I've seen a question come through, but yeah, I will answer that at the end, if that's all right. So we have that layer of manager insights. I can identify those work patterns when I'm not in the same room as my team members. We also have another level to that, which is leader insights. Again, that comes with the additional license. And the leader insights is really an opportunity for the stakeholders in the business to look at the resiliency and work impacts of the entire business. So rather than, you know, we have the individual looking at their own insights, we have the manager looking at their team insights, and then we have a leader looking at the entire business and changing and putting policies in place to improve business outcomes. So a leader would access their insights in the same way. They would open up insights, and you'll see the My Organization tab at the top. Now in here, I will be provided with some key outcomes. This data is customizable as well. So what you would ideally have is an analyst who would access a portal called Workplace Analytics, which I'll show you next. And they would choose and create specific outcomes and query the data to find, you know, things that we want to achieve as a business. And that would then be filtered through to Viva Insights. So the leaders can then go in and consume the insights and the recommendations based on what you want to see. So in here, one of my key things is to improve my employee experience. So if I open up this card, I can see out of all of my, you know, employees, I can see after hour collaboration, I can see if people are spending too much time in meetings, if they're not actually speaking to their managers. And again, I can view best practices. Let me give a little refresh on this because it should show you a little bit more than that. The demo gods, please be kind. Okay, so let's go back to my organization, and it should give me a couple of more outcomes in there. But as a leader, that's me getting, you know, recommendations for the entire organization. I can view best practices. I can see, you know, a little bit of that information and that data. So there's 3 levels to Viva Insights. And one of the things I wanted to, I'm just conscious of the time, I wanted to show you the workplace analytics portal, because that's really what's feeding into this, the Viva Insights app. So as an analyst, you would access the workplace analytics portal. And it's really not for, I wouldn't say it's for leaders to go in and access. It's definitely not for end users. It's more specifically analysts and administrators who would go in and look at this data. So I would access the Workplace Analytics portal, which is workplaceanalytics.office.com. And just to make you aware as well, if you wanted to get insights across, your entire organization, every user would require that additional license. So that's just important to note for any user you want insights on, or any, if you wanted insights across your entire organization, everybody would need that additional license. I'll paste a link as well on more information on that. So first of all, in the Workplace Analytics tool, I'm an admin or I'm an analyst. I can go in and it's going to tell me about my organization's data. And thank you so much. I think, Ken, you just posted that for me. It's looking at, I'm an organization with 550 odd team members. So that's how many employees I have. Here are my managers. I've got 5 large teams, 7 levels, and this data is based on usage of Outlook and Microsoft Teams. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the data sources for Workplace Analytics and Viva Insights. So you'll see that I have, usage of Outlook and Teams, but what I can actually do is add more data so I can get a more accurate, report of insights. So if I just navigate to the left-hand side, and we'll talk about data sources first and then come back to this. I have 3 different sources. I have Microsoft 365 data. This is my measured employees. These are employees who have a license. And I can look at, our Office 365 telemetry. I can look at our Teams usage and our Outlook usage and get meeting information, how many people are in meetings and the collaboration in there as well. But what we can also do is add organizational data. So organizational data is where we would input data from a HR portal, and we can add things in there, like our sick day policies. We can even add things like, payroll information or hourly wage information. So if we wanted to look at, if some people are working after hours or if they're not being as productive, how much money is that costing us, type of thing. So if you wanted to add more information, you can, and this will give you more of a hierarchy as well. So the teams that you have, the departments, the levels, and so on. So you could upload your own organizational data. We also have CRM data, so we can upload any information from CRM. And what this will be looking at is things like revenue, but also external collaborators, customers, and partners that we're collaborating with. So we can, add our own data. It's not just taking it from Microsoft 365, which is quite nice. So going back to home, in here, I have initially some outcomes. These are, the kind of key business outcomes that most organizations want to achieve. So I want to develop effective managers. I want to look at our, agility. I want to enhance our operational effectiveness. And what I can do is I can go in, and this is kind of out of the box. If I don't query any of the data, I can just go in and view some statistics, there we are, of what's happening in my organization. I can see the meetings that managers are spending their time in. And again, I can take action. So I can get, recommendations. So the recommendations come through for the analyst as well as the leader. I can scroll down. I can see the percentage of managers who are working after hours. Is there going to be burnout with my managers? What about my employees? How many meetings are they attending? And I get all of this kind of aggregated data. You can explore the stats, so I can go in further and see where is this actually pulling this information from. So I can see my measured employees, how many people it's looking over, the weekly averages, and I can scroll down and see, per department, what these statistics are. What am I looking at in terms of, collaboration and meetings attended across my different departments? And again, it's all aggregated data. I can't see any usernames in here. And I can see I answered the questions. That's fab. I'm keeping an eye on the chat as I do this. So we can delve a little bit deeper. And what we can also do, if I could just go back to home and choose a different one in here, is I can explore the stats in Power BI. You need the Power BI desktop to be able to do this, but that allows you to create dashboards, and you could add that dashboard into Microsoft Teams if you wanted to, in Power BI, if you wanted to consume, the insights that way instead of through the specific app. So I have some, typical outcomes that Workplace Analytics will provide me. But what you can do is customize this information, and you can basically say, we want to achieve something else that's not in these 8 kind of, business outcomes. So on the left-hand side, I can analyze the data. And in here, I can go to my query designer, and I can query the data within Workplace Analytics. So the data that I'm querying is the M365 data, organizational, and CRM data. Now, they try and make it as easy as possible, if I'm honest, for analysts and for admins. If you go in here, you can create a new query from scratch, or you can work from one of the templates. So I can go into here and I can see, is there something else that I'm trying to achieve, where we're looking at returning to work site. So what type of, data can I look at to help me with my resilience when we do return to the workplace? What about our sales effectiveness? We actually had an example of a bank who used this to improve their sales and their revenue. So they basically compared 2 sales teams, one that was the best performing compared to the other ones that were lower performing. And they were looking at the work habits and patterns of those sales teams. And the sales team that was outperforming, they found that they had more collaboration within the organization. So they had a better network across the entire organization. They spoke to more customers as well. They had more external collaboration with clients and more meetings with clients than the sales team that weren't performing. So it was giving the insights to say, okay, if your other sales team, do the same thing and build and put that process in place and that policy and those habits, it will increase their targets or their KPIs, and the revenue that sales team's hitting. So that can be a really useful tool to kind of, depending on what your outcome is as an organization. That would be the first place to start. What is it you're trying to achieve? But in terms of the type of queries that we can run, so we can choose to look at specific queries around person queries. So am I looking at people and how they collaborate across the organization? Do I want to look at, meeting specific trends? So, if we're in long meetings, if we're in meetings that people, they're long meetings or they're town halls and there's a large amount of attendees, is that taking up everyone's time? And I can also look at person to group. How are people collaborating, individuals collaborating with wider groups? So there's different query types that we can run here. And I'm just going to choose this. I'll choose the person query for now. I can start a new query. I can use a template if I wanted to. So there's lots of templates available to make it a little bit easier. I can define exactly what I'm looking for in here. So I'm looking at a time period. How do I want to group this data? What do I actually want to know? Do I want to know about after hours? Do I want to know about how they're collaborating, their emails sent? And again, it's not going to tell me every single person's emails that have been sent. It's just going to give me that aggregated data. What I'm going to look at is after hours instant messages. And in here, I could choose to filter it to, certain all employees. And in here, I have my measured employees, which are employees who have that Workplace Analytics license. What I'm going to do is I want all of the information. Let's include all of the levels. And of course, it doesn't like, I need to give it a name. I just put person to person on that. So I could call that, if we're looking at a finance team or, whatever it may be that we're trying to run. I could run that person to person query and that will run in the background. It takes a little bit of time to, the last one that we did, it was about 24 hours. So let it run for about 24 hours and it should have a result. But just to show you one that I did earlier, I can look at a visualization of the data. So if I've created a query, I can go in, I can see, what is it I was looking at. And this one, I did previously, I was looking at lengthy meeting hours across my different departments within my organization. So in here, I can go in and I can see that, oh my goodness, we did have finance and sales and marketing. They have the longest meetings, and I can make selections, to look at specific groups if I wanted to. Now, what you would do once you create, the query that you want and you look at your results, you could choose to create a plan. So this is where we would create, those outcomes and the things that we actually want to achieve. Now that we've found the problem, how are we going to fix that? And that takes me to the plan section. I'm going to speed up because I'm running out of time, but we have plans where I can track and I can manage any plans that we're creating in the organization. So if there was something that we wanted to create to do with collaboration or focus plan. So if we run a query and it tells us that people have, too many meetings, we might actually choose to start this plan to have fewer meeting hours. And what I can do from there is I can actually track the success of my plans as well. So I can see since we started this plan and we put those processes in place, we actually have a huge amount of focus time. We had 106 hours of focus time back for our users. And this is how much revenue we've probably saved by doing that. So that's why that HR data you want to input is useful, because it will give you that insight. I can see for across the duration if our meeting hours have decreased, if they've increased, if the number of participants have changed, what's our biggest improvement. So you can actually show results to your leaders as an analyst and say, look, we looked at the data, we created this plan and the plan's working. So this is how much money we've saved and this is how much time we've saved across our employees. So that was, I think, the quickest version of workplace analytics that I've gone through. But the key thing there is that we can totally customize it to, depending on what we're trying to achieve. And even the data sources we can customize. So if we didn't want to look at meetings that had maybe, an appointment, so I think if we go into Analyst Settings, I can actually choose to exclude certain data. I could exclude attendees, I could exclude, our CEOs, or if I wanted to, and I could exclude things like meetings that were appointments. So maybe they're not actually meetings, maybe they're just reminders that employees have put in. So we can customize that data that is pulling from as well. Okay, in the last 5 minutes, a couple of things I need to talk about. Privacy. Privacy is very, very important when it comes to Viva Insights, because a lot of, when I talk to customers, the fear is it's a tool for spying. Hopefully by showing you the tool, you can see it's not for, spying on our employees. It's really to help. And all of the Microsoft products, our Viva Insights, it's protecting all of the employees' privacy. It fully complies with any regulations like GDPR. And it's not showing you any kind of identifiable information, when it comes to the data. So you'll only be able to see the aggregated information. That's the most useful. It also, in terms of privacy controls, you again can totally control everything. You can analyze your collaboration data as well as your HR data. And no matter how the metrics are presented or used, there is no individual activity or metric that can be discerned. So an individual can never be established with any certainty. Managers or team leaders, nobody can conclude anything specific about an individual. So it gives control to administrators to control the product to be consistent with any applicable laws or regulations and policies. And you choose what data you use in the app. So you can exclude as much data as you want to. We also, I mentioned the kind of control. So you do have, it uses, in terms of Viva Insights, it uses Microsoft 365 email, calendar metadata, external data from a HR system, it looks at how your time is spent within meetings, emails, calls, chats, and so on. Again, you have total control over what we're looking at and who we're looking at with that. Something else to mention, actually, in terms of security and compliance, an active tenant is a tenant that has more one or more valid Viva Insights user licenses. So by default, Viva Insights initially collects, processes, and retains 13 months worth of data. And then what happens is through weekly refreshes, Viva Insights will increase this history until 27 months worth of data is collected. After that point, older collaboration data is deleted as newer collaboration data is collected. So that means that Viva Insights will not have any collaboration data that's older than 27 months. You can file a request to initiate Viva Insights with less than 30 months worth of data. And for that, the minimum amount of data that you can collect is 1 month. So you have to have at least 1 month of data that's collected for it to give you any insights. And you'd have to do a special request for that. If you have a Viva license that is assigned to a user and you remove it, the Viva Insights will retain that user's collaboration data from the time that it was collected when the license was assigned. So you can continue to query the data and the information and any activity that that user participated in before they left. And all of the collaboration data will be deleted according to your overall retention policy that you have applied to your tenant as well. So just to make you aware of some of those key, retention, how much data we're holding, it will clean up that, won't have everything for, the entire length of time. And lastly, then, my 1 minute left. Why do we need Viva Insights? Well, workers are not machines. That seems obvious. But for a long time, business technology, we've largely ignored that fact. And whether it's your email, CRM, or a spreadsheet, IT tools are designed with an exclusive focus on productivity. We want to think about helping people as well do their work as efficiently as possible. And that's great. But the problem is that, it's only going to allow you to keep working as long as you possibly can. And the fact that we're human beings that need to stop and sleep sometimes gets overlooked. And this era now of remote working, that's even more than ever. We're always connected, we're always on, we're always producing things. Burnout is absolutely real. And so Viva Insights is therefore designed to provide both individuals and organizations with an idea of how we're doing at work. It comes with a variety of features that help with monitoring that well-being in different ways and also offer recommendations to improve it. And that's why we need Viva Insights. And that, just on time, concludes my session today on Viva Insights and analytics available to help with your behaviours in the workplace. But thank you so much for listening. I'll pause now and see if there are any key questions in the chat, or feel free to ask any questions if you want to.
Thanks, Kat, for the nice session. There were some questions in the chat, but it seems some of them are already answered. So I think Frank was asking if there was a free demo environment available for Microsoft with the Viva suite. And I think Ken already answered it. So
yes, thank you, Ken. There is. There's ones that I'm using that are free from Microsoft, so that's wonderful. You shared the link there.
And I think Jeroen also had a question. Jeroen is if you want to unmute, you can ask your question yourself if you want, or just pop it up. Can
you hear me? Is my microphone on?
All good, yeah.
All right, yeah, I had some problems earlier. So Microsoft has been championing the idea of delayed delivery, both in Outlook as has been available for quite a while,
yes,
and Teams as well. Now, I see Microsoft Viva nudging you to postpone a particular email, but I have not seen any policy that makes it a default to not send in a certain or outside of a certain working hours. Do you have any insights on those?
I love that you said it. Any insights? So it's currently, so I've used the delay feature, the one previously that's been around for a while. I haven't come across a policy either that can turn it on as default, but I haven't looked in a while, so I'll double check for you if there's something new, which there is with Viva Insights all the time. So I'll check, but as far as I'm aware, no. But yeah, let's come back to you on that.
Thanks.
And I think
Alright.
Chris, you also had a question, but it seems Kat already answered it later on in your session. Or if you still want to ask it, you can unmute it, Chris, if you want.
It got kindly replied in the sense of that it's not only the data monitored of the Microsoft 365 users, but also coming from a CRM or other raw data. So it was clear. Thank you, Cathy.
No problem.